Welcome back to Critic Cut. Today we're going to talk about the top 5 Spider-Man films. So first off, let's talk about which Spider-Man was the best. And this is a separate topic to which Spider-Man films are best, because there were some good films with the worst Spider-Man, in my opinion. This is all just my opinion, so let me know what you think. But my opinion is Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was the best Spider-Man, and for several reasons. And that's not a comment on whose acting is better. I think Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield are both very talented actors. But I think in terms of just the character of who Spider-Man is, that this is a kid who's supposed to be a normal high school kid that's kind of a nerd, and then gets these superpowers, right? I think Andrew Garfield just doesn't... He fits in on the side of the cool, Spider-Man with powers, but doesn't fit in so much on the nerdy kind of... So I think Tom Holland did a pretty good job, but not as good as Tobey Maguire, in my opinion. I think he just had this great aura of being a nerd. A lot better than the other ones, anyway. So here's the top 5 Spider-Man films, in my opinion. Spider-Man 1. William Dafoe as Green Goblin. He just did such an excellent job with that character that the stakes were high. The whole origin story was way better than the other reboots. You just can't go better with that. And it's just purely coincidental that I think that's also the best Spider-Man. But I think it's also just the best film of them all, just because it has such that original story. It's not connected to any universe or anything. It's just a great standalone origin story and great conflict and cinematography. And for the era, the visual effects were still pretty good. Number 2, maybe a bit of a surprise, but I think it goes to Spider-Man Homecoming. I think it was actually the best reboot of the reboots. Of the 2 reboots, it was definitely the best one. I thought it had a great tie-in with the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was still a great film on its own. I thought the whole character arc with Iron Man trying to be some sort of a mentor, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Tom Holland's Spider-Man, still felt like, true to the characters, a good portrayal. For number 3, I think Spider-Man 2, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2. We can all agree that Spider-Man 3 was the worst one of the whole series. I don't think there's any dispute about that. But Spider-Man 2 just had a great dynamic with Doc Ock. I think Alfred Molina played that role really well and did a good job with that. What's great about Doc Ock's character is that when he's not, taken over by the machine that he made, he's actually just trying to do good science. It's a character with some depth to it that's not just your, a lot of times Marvel has these cookie cutter villains that just want one thing. They're, an inch deep. But there's a lot of depth to that character, and then the relationship between him and Peter Parker is great and just adds some dimension to the character. Character is so important in these stories, even in these big superhero films that have all these big spectacles and all this action. But that's great, but it doesn't make it a great movie unless it has some great character development and good storytelling. And that's one thing I really love about the Spider-Man franchise is they do such a good job with the character of Spider-Man that I love it. Number 4, I think No Way Home would be number 4. Granted, it was a bit weak on some of the storytelling elements and maybe a bit convoluted and a little long. It was still pretty well executed for that film, and I wasn't a huge fan of the one with Mysterio in the Tom Holland series, and neither of the Andrew Garfield ones really spoke to me, although I really like Andrew Garfield as an actor. But just those 2 Spider-Man films, they were good, but weren't great, so that would take number 4. Number 5, I would probably give to The Amazing Spider-Man 2, actually, with Andrew Garfield. Even though I wasn't a huge fan of those films, I thought what Jamie Foxx brought to Elektra was really interesting, and that whole backstory and character development they did with him. There's some major storytelling problems there. I really thought it was really weepy at the end with Gwen dying. That it was just okay, this is a bit overdone, you know. That would be number 5 for me. Just looking at all the rest of them, I think that would probably be at that place in my list. What do you think? How would you rank the Spider-Man films? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, tell good stories.